Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I'm going to tell you a little story about my grandfather, and this is a story I just found out during my visit to Louisville, Kentucky. My grandfather was lynched, and I'm going to explain what happened, and I'm also going to explain how this relates to the Juneteenth holiday. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Everybody in here, I hope that you are B1 with me. I hope that you agree with me that the B1 philosophy is the way to go. B1 simply means that we put ourselves first. We stop saving everybody else before we save ourselves. B1 also means that we believe Black people can be the most economically intelligent and financially literate group of people on the planet in the next 50 years. B1 also means we understand we must be one, which means we must get past the Willie Lynchism and stop supporting this idea of Black people fighting and start working on ideas that relate to Black people uniting. If you agree with this concept, put a B1 in the chat, hashtag B1. That's what we believe. That's what we do. So let me talk to you guys a little bit about some of this Juneteenth stuff. A lot of people have been asking me about Juneteenth. They've been asking me about the not just the legislation, but reparations and things like that. And I'm going to tell you, I got a message from God this week. In case y'all don't know, I believe deeply in God. Not in the same way that some of y'all might believe in God. You know, I don't go to church or anything like that, but I believe in the universe. I believe the universe it gives us a type of symmetry in our existence that is beyond explanation. It defies logic. There's no way to explain the symmetries that exist in my life. Even the woman that I met, when the first day I met her, I knew I would be her friend for life. I did not know I was going to be her husband one day, but years later we ended up being married, and we did not plan that. At that time, we thought we'd just be friends forever. But I knew even on the first day, I wrote in my journal that I met the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'm happy that she's my friend. So there's a symmetry. There's a symmetry in the universe that leads us to just kind of say, man, this happened right at the right time for a certain reason. And here's the deal. I was thinking about Juneteenth and reparations, and I want to ask you guys, first of all, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done it, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. But I'm going to ask you, if you've been following the Juneteenth legislation, how many of you feel that reparations should come with the Juneteenth legislation? How many of you feel that the Juneteenth federal holiday is not enough and that reparations is really what you deserve as a community? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I'm about to text the rest of the tribe and then let them know we're live. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Okay, good. I'm seeing lots of yeses. Okay, good. All right. So, and just so you know, I'm texting the rest of the tribe and then let them know that we're live. If you want to get a text message periodically when we go live, just text the word Boyce to 31996. Somebody type that number in the chat, 31996. If you text my name, Boyce, to 31996, you will get a text message when we go live. So text Boyce to 31996 if you want to get a text message. All right. Okay. So I'm seeing nothing but yeses from Romana and Perry and Tracy. And I see you on Instagram, Briltil, Octavia, and a few others. A lot of you are saying yes. And I agree with you 100%. And I'm glad that we're at least on the same page. I'm glad we at least agree that reparations are owed and reparations are necessary. So why am I bringing up this conversation today? And why am I talking about the universe and almost sounding metaphysical right now? I'm sounding like my brother's red pill, blue pill. My wife loves metaphysics stuff. She's a big fan of red pill, blue pill, Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, brother Rich and Black Magic, and shout out to Professor Griff and just all those guys that are doing great work. I love them all. I think that they're all excellent. And so metaphysics matters, right? So the metaphysical moment for me right now is that right at the moment that I'm thinking about these things, we're thinking about Juneteenth, the legislation passed yesterday, all that kind of popped off and went down. I'm in Louisville right now, my hometown. I'm walking the same streets I walked when I was 7 years old. Every street has a memory. You know how it is when you go to your home city. Every street has a memory attached to it. You know, every block you like remembered something that happened in 1985, something that happened in 1992. You know, a person that is no longer with you that is. That was right there, and so Louisville is an emotional place for me. It's like walking into a matrix where my whole past, present, and future all could become connected, and I'm in 50,000 places at once. I'm living in different times at the same time. Again, it's very spiritual for me, and so when I was here, I had this really interesting experience where I got a chance to meet my brother for the first time. He's my long lost brother. We have the same father. And and my father was, you could the whole Papa was a Rolling Stone type thing. That might be a way to describe my father. His name was Boyce, like me, Boyce Dwight Sanders. My name is Boyce Dwight Watkins. And my father, my biological father who raised me, that stepdaddy that everybody likes to make fun of. I think stepdaddies are awesome. Shout out to all the bonus dads out here who are stepping up where other men did not. So my bonus dad, who stepped up and became my father, he changed my name. He adopted me. He said, "This is my son. I don't give a shit what y'all think. I'm gonna protect this boy. God put me in his life for a reason, and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do as a man." And so he changed my name, but me and my father have the same name. So I had a brother, and I have a brother and a sister. And on my mother's side, I have a sister that was born in 1976, a brother that was born in 1983. On my father's side, I have a sister that was born in 1979 and a brother that was also born in 1983, about 2 weeks apart. The brothers, my two little brothers were born about 2 weeks apart. No kidding. This is crazy, right? And then my sisters are both born 176, 173. So that's pretty close too. So here's what's interesting. So I meet my brother for the first time. His name is Ryan, and he's taller than me, and he's a great young man. I love talking to him, and he is a brilliant historian. He knows a lot about the family history. And so what he tells me, and this goes back to the Juneteenth conversation. So that's why I'm telling you guys the story. So Ryan and I sit back and kick it. We just sit in the hotel. We talk. Now somebody says no sound on YouTube. Is there sound? Can you guys hear me? Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you're able to hear me. Okay. Some of you are saying that you can't hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me on both platforms. I just want to make sure I'm coming through okay. Somebody says there's no sound on YouTube. It may be your device. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I'm getting a lot of yeses, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. So you may want to reboot. So but then again, if you had no sound, I guess you couldn't even hear me say that. But so anyway, so I sit and I talk to my brother Ryan for a very long time. And Ryan starts telling me the family history. This is on the same day the Juneteenth legislation gets passed, and he tells me about our grandfather. I had a grandfather by the name of John Henry, and he literally was a John Henry type of guy. I met him one time, big, strong black man. That rolls in our blood. We got strong men in our family, and he was about 6 feet tall, muscular, deep voice, deep Southern voice like that. Real strong family man. Took care of his woman and his kids, and lived to be about 100 years old, 98 years old, something like that. Well, John Henry had a father named Albert, and Albert Sanders, that was his name, actually had an incident. There was an incident in Louisville, Kentucky, or near Louisville, where I'm at right now, where Albert was in the grocery store with his wife, and a white man stepped on his toe. So I guess his wife would be my great grandmother. So the white man steps on her toe, and she says, she gets outraged. She's like, "You stepped on my foot. Like, you need to apologize." And he says something like, "Get out of here." And he calls it the N-word. "Get out of here. I'm not even going to say it because I don't like saying the word online like that, because it's digital censorship. But so my grandfather, Albert, gets outraged. He's like, "Whoa, you can't talk to my wife like that." So remember, this is back in the day when black men protected black women, when you didn't have guys like eccentric Uncle Junior who says simping ain't easy, in the comments, you didn't have wimpy guys like him. You had men that actually wanted to protect black women, and that runs in our DNA. And so my great grandfather Albert steps up, and he tells the white man, like, "No, you can't talk to my wife like that." And the white man keeps smacking, running his mouth or whatever. So great grandpa Albert took a brick and put that brick upside this white dude's head. Like, he busts his head with a brick, right? And this is in the 1920s, right? And so after he busts his head with the brick, well, the white folks get mad. So they go back and they get together and they went and got my great grandfather, Albert, and they hung him. This is the story that was told to me. They hanged him. They lynched. So he was lynched. My great grandfather was lynched. And so I heard this story on the same day that you were talking about this Juneteenth legislation, right? This Juneteenth law that was passed by the Biden administration, allegedly to right some of the wrongs of the past, or so they think. And you guys probably know my opinion, and I've shared this on my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. Please follow me on Twitter. Please follow me on Instagram, because I'm not going to argue with stupid people. I'm not going to argue with backward thinking black folk. I just don't want nothing to do with that. I just don't, call it elitist, call it what you want. But I believe black people need to start thinking in an elite fashion. Stop seeing yourself as the bottom of the barrel. Stop seeing yourself as the losers in the room. Stop seeing yourself as the weakest link. Start seeing yourself as the strong people that you are. Start seeing yourself in an excellent way so that you will become excellent people. So I'm sorry, it may sound elitist when I say that only about 10-15% of black folks may get what I'm saying. But I'm sorry, if that's elite, then I don't give a fuck, because we need to start thinking in an elite manner if we want to start winning championships. If you want to win championships, you must start off by believing that your shit don't stink, that you can't be defeated, that you are the greatest, that you will win. I'm in Muhammad Ali's hometown right now. I'm going to be in the Muhammad Ali Center tomorrow for Knowledge Fest. And Muhammad Ali didn't walk around saying, well, I'm just okay. I'm just mediocre. I'm average. No, he said, I'm the greatest. He said, I'm the greatest. He didn't go around saying, well, it will be elitist for me to say that I'm the greatest, because there's a lot of good fighters out here. He didn't do the Joe Louis humble thing, because that humbleness got Joe Louis fried. Joe Louis was humble. Joe Louis followed the rules. Joe Louis did what white folks told him to do. They told Joe Louis, they made rules for him. Did y'all know that? They made rules for Joe Louis. They said, you must not be seen with a white woman in public. Did y'all know that? They told him, you cannot be seen with a white woman in public. He said, yeah. As a boss, okay. And then they said, when you knock out an opponent, you cannot flaunt, you cannot taunt the opponent, you cannot be proud and boastful. You got to walk to your corner with your head down and sit down, right? And he did, okay, boss, I'm going to do it. He was seeking approval because he didn't want to offend his oppressor by letting his light shine. Some of y'all go through that. Some of y'all got oppressive people around you, and they may not even be white. Some of y'all got Negro naysayers around you who are oppressing you worse than white folks are. Most of the heat that a lot of intelligent black people get online is not from white folks, it's from black people. Some of y'all got black folks that don't want to see you shine. They want to dog you out because you think you want to do well. You don't want to be in the struggle. So you're like, okay, I want to fit in. So I'm gonna be ignorant. I speak with proper English, but I'm gonna start speaking with broken English so that I can be like the rappers and everybody will think that I'm relatable. You're doing what Joe Louis did. And let me tell you what happened to Joe Louis. Even though Joe Louis followed every rule, even though Joe Louis placated in every way, Joe Louis bent over and let them buck break him, even though he was one of the strongest athletes on the planet. He let them buck break him like a little boy. He still died broke. They still screwed him when they had the opportunity. Joe Louis gave up the prime of his career to go to the military and volunteer, because he was like, I want to show them how patriotic I am, and I'm going to go and volunteer to go fight in the military for nothing. Well, at that point, the IRS came down on his butt big time. They messed him up financially like a mug. Like, they fucked up his money so bad. Joe Louis spent the rest of his career fighting just to try to pay his taxes. He would do a big fight, make a big pile of money. The IRS man would be waiting in the office to take that money away, all because he agreed to fight for free in the military, and they taxed him as if he was getting paid a high salary, even though he was not. So what I'm telling you is that when you surrender to your bullies, when you think that somehow being nice to your bullies is going to get you a fair shake or a pass, when you think that bowing down and bending over and letting them pop anything in your butt is going to make you free or give you what you want, then you are just going to get double played, because now you've given them full information to let them know that they can screw you. You've let them know they can. So shout out to my great grandfather Albert, who didn't bend over. He did not get butt broken. He put that brick upside that dude's head because he said, you will not respect the black woman I love. Shout out to him. Ashe to him. Everybody type, if you could, please do me a humble, I'm going to ask you all a favor. Could y'all put Albert in the chat? Because I need to call great-grandfather Albert into the room so that he can hear me defending his legacy 100 years after his death. This is what I want my great-grandchildren to do for me. I want them to remember me 100 years after my death. I want them to remember, in the year 2121, I want them to look back to the year 2021, and I want them to remember the battles that we're fighting right now on behalf of the future and on behalf of the community, where we're fighting against enemies, both foreign and domestic. We ain't just fighting white folks, we're fighting a lot of black folks too. So ashe to your ancestors. Name your ancestor. If you got an ancestor who showed bravery in the face of oppression, put that person's name in the chat right now. Bring them into the room. With that said, hearing the story about my great-grandfather Albert and his lynching was heavy for me. It was very heavy for me because I'm sitting here and tomorrow's the Knowledge Fest, which is happening at the Muhammad Ali Center. And so I'm thinking about Ali, I'm thinking about the Knowledge Fest, I'm thinking about my great-grandfather, I'm meeting my brother, my long-lost brother for the first time. I'm thinking about also the bigger picture in all this too. This Juneteenth legislation that's just passed by the Biden administration. I believe that we can all agree and we all understand that that's not enough. We all understand that the passing of a holiday is basic third grader validation for people with low self-esteem. We know that there are going to be people who are going to say, thank you, Lordy Jesus. Thank you so much, Massa Biden, for giving us breaking us off a little something to make us feel better about ourselves. Like we know that's going to be out there. We know that there's going to be people out there who are going to go for the okie doke, who are going to believe that. And I'm not knocking you. In fact, if you're happy about the holiday, good for you. You get a day off work. You maybe it's making you feel a little bit better about your life. I have no reason to say that the holiday shouldn't be there. That is fine. But let me just tell you this. That holiday means nothing if they do not cut the check. That holiday means nothing if they do not pay reparations. That holiday means nothing if they don't issue $15 trillion. I want to give you a number so you'll know what number to look for. 15 trillion, because they're going to give you other numbers. They're going to sound big. They're going to say 100 billion, because they're eventually going to do it. It's going to be probably in the next election, because every election you fall for, so you stop falling for their stupid tricks. So in the next election, we're going to remember the last one, and then they're going to say, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and pay you the reparations. We're going to pay you $100 billion, Lordy B. And a lot of folks are going to be impressed by that number. But let me just tell you, as a financial expert and as a black man, that number is not enough. That number is not enough to bring back my great-grandfather Albert, who died because he stood up defending his wife against a white man who thought he could oppress every black person that he sees. That number is not enough to make up for all the black women that were raped and tortured and have babies cut out of their stomach by crazy lynch mobs who thought they could do anything they want to a black person. That number is not enough for the fact that you spent 400 years stealing labor and stealing massive amounts of wealth from black people all across the country. My great-grandfather's story was just one story that happened right here near Louisville, Kentucky, but there are thousands of stories like that. There are thousands of Albert Sanders out there. And so Albert Sanders, to some extent, his story that I shared with you is a microcosm. That is representative of the entire mass. That is the tip of the iceberg. That is not the iceberg. And what they do with you with symbolism is they give you the tip of the iceberg and they say, this is the whole iceberg. They show you the tip and you think that that's the whole iceberg. They say, well, let me just put the tip in. Let me just put the tip in. And then they screw you. So what I'm telling you is that this Juneteenth legislation, that is complete symbolism. In fact, those of you who are entrepreneurs you already get your day off. So you can take a day off whenever you want to. So shout out to the entrepreneurs in the room, and those of you who are wantrepreneurs. Most of you either are entrepreneurs or you're trying to become entrepreneurs because you want to get away from this toxic system. For that, I congratulate you. So the symbolism, fine. Do that. Pass the law. Let white people have the day off too. I don't care. But please understand that this means nothing compared to what the final objective must be. And the final objective is not even reparations. It is getting the right amount of money that at least remotely reflects the tragedy that you've gone through in America and how much wealth was stolen from you by these people who are acting like giving you one little holiday is going to be enough. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I want to remind you guys that this podcast is on Spotify too. So if you have Spotify, you want to listen in your car, just look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, or you can go to the drboycebreakdown.com. There is an audio version of this podcast in case you can't watch the video or you're at work and you want to put the headphones on, whatever the case may be. Also, I want to remind you guys that if you're in Louisville, the Knowledge Fest happens tomorrow. Brother Kari Muhammad did a great job of putting together a great event. A lot of great people going to be there. Brother Ben X, Red Pill, Blue Pill, Styles P, the rapper, the BWO, shout out to them, Sabir Bey. A lot of great people will be there. So if you want, and of course, I'll be there as well. So if you want to join, you can go to meetinc.org. There's a URL on the screen, meetinc.org. All right, so hit the thumbs up button and put a B1 in the chat after you do. Please hit the thumbs up button and put your B1 in the chat to let me know that you did that, and share this video if you're on Facebook or anything like that, because I think people need to hear this message. All right, so Dre Day says, love you, big bro. We need real change. I agree. Powernomics, y'all. B1, baby. That's right. That's right. Thank you for your support of the platform. I appreciate that very, very much. And I will do my best to represent you to the fullest and to the best of my ability. And let me just give you something back in exchange. If you go to theallblackagenda.com, there's a free book that I put together. It's a short little ebook that explains my $5 a day investing plan, where you can build wealth and at least create freedom for your children by making sure that they have an asset base when they get older, so that they can quit their job if they want to. They can buy their first home when they want to. They can go ahead and start a business when they want to. You want your kids to have an asset base. Don't just train the kids to have an endowment, or don't just train the kids to have a job. Train them to have an asset base, because an asset base is better than a job. A job is where you make money when you work. An asset base is when you make money because your money is working for you. Okay, so I want your children's money to be working for them, and you have time. If you start in the year 2021, then your kids will be good in the year 2041. But it takes time. You got to plan ahead. Those who win are those who prepare. Sun Tzu in The Art of War, because you are at war, Black people. In case you don't know, you are at war. Sun Tzu in The Art of War said that battles are won before they begin. Battles are won before they begin. What does that mean? Well, that's like basketball. When you watch basketball players, when you watch the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks playing on the court, you're not really seeing what they're doing on that particular day. You're seeing thousands of hours of preparation that they've done before the game to get ready for the game. You're seeing a display of all the hard work they put in the gym to get ready to play. When they show up in their muscle bound, trimmed down, 5% body fat, that comes from the hard work they did before the game. They didn't do that during the game. When you see the perfect jump shot, or you see James Harden make these crazy moves, that's because of all the thousands of hours of preparation he did before the game, not what he did during the game. He didn't get to the game and say, well, I'm going to become a great player today. No, he chose to become a great player 10, 20 years ago. So what I'm saying to you is that if you want to be a player in this game of global economics, you got to practice the game as early as possible. You have to have your children saying, I played the game well, not because I decided to start playing the game well last week. You want your children to say, I'm playing the game well because, like an NBA superstar, I started practicing. I chose to become a great player 20 years ago. That is how you become great. That is how you win championships. That is how you win in the future. You win the future by preparing for the future. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes or no if you get what I'm saying. So here's where I want to go with this. Here's where I want to go. When you talk about the reparations conversation, the Juneteenth holiday reminds me of that book I have all the students in the Black Business School read, called How the Jews Invented Hollywood. Now, that is not an anti-Semitic book. This is not anti-anybody. I'm not I don't care about I'm pro-Black. I'm not anti-nothing. And maybe I'm anti-ignorance. That might be it. I don't like people that want to be ignorant. That ain't fun for me. Ignorance is like how you got here. Let's do something different. But I'm not anti. But this book is great because it breaks down and explains exactly how the Jewish community made a major power play and built Hollywood so that they could control their own image to the world. And as a result, they have an amount of power that disproportionately reflects their percentage population in the world. For example, the Supreme Court has never to this day had one single Black woman on the entire Supreme Court, not one single time in 200 and something years. I think about a third or a little bit less than a third of all the Supreme Court justices have been from the Jewish community, at least over the last, say, 80 years. There's a lot of Jewish representation in the halls of power, whether you talk about media, banking, court systems, etc. This is a strategic power play. I'm not even mad at him for it. I'm not mad. I'm not going to sit in here and complain about it. When you're winning, I congratulate you from winning and say, how did you do that? I don't say, well, I hate you because you're winning. Why would you hate somebody because they're winning? You hating them ain't going to do nothing except make them a bigger winner. You hating on them is doing nothing but surrendering and admitting that they're better than you. So I don't want to sit around and be a hater. I want to learn. I want to be a student, right? So what I want you to do is when you see people grab that victim mentality, like, well, I don't like that. I don't like that person because they got all that money. They must have stole it. They must have. Don't fall into that energy. Don't fall into that. Believe me, you talk about the king of haters right now. I've had so many haters. I think my hateration ratio has gone up a little bit. You got the player haterologists that have really come out of the woodwork, and that's fine. That's good. That's great. That's wonderful. Haters pop into your life the same way bacteria reacts to an infection. The way when you become the shit, you're gonna attract the flies. So when you tell me that when you show up and you start buzzing in my ear and getting on my nerves, that tells me, oh, I must be the shit, because flies attract shit. Flies attract people who complain. Flies attract people who are mad. Flies attract people who hate on the person who has started winning. So I want you to go out and make it your mission in life to get as many haters as you possibly can, because you are the shit. You are going to be great. You are going to be extraordinary. Why? Well, because you're here. You're here because there's nothing about this message that is typical. There's nothing about what we do on this platform that is average. This is not something that you see in mainstream media anywhere. Am I right or am I right? You don't see this kind of conversation. You don't see true Black empowerment talk, because many of our people never learn what power really looks like. They don't even know what it means to be powerful. I'll give you an example. I had a billionaire that came on the channel named Mike Roberts. And one thing Mike Roberts said was, he said, rich people are very loud. He said, but wealthy people, he said, no, we whisper. We whisper. Because we ain't got to be loud to prove to you. My interpretation of his statement, I'm taking a liberty here, but my interpretation is that when you got that kind of power, when you got real power, you ain't got to be loud about it. You ain't got to yell about it. You ain't got to say, look at me. I got gold chains and Gucci down to the side. No, you don't have to do all that. You know you have power. You're just trying to strategically think about how you're going to execute that power. So wealthy people whisper. So at the end of the day, just make your move. Just make your move. People that talk more about what they're going to do than actually do it are typically people who are talking a lot, because talk is cheap. Talk is easy. Talk is free. Action is where the gold is at. The execution is how you win the championship. That's how you really get to where you want to get to. So understand what power looks like, because I want you to have real power. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please do that. Please hit the thumbs up button right now if you haven't done it. And I want to remind everybody one more thing too. In case you're interested, there's a brother that created a really great Black Wall Street board game. And he actually agreed to teach a class in the Black Business School. And I don't have the brother's name in front of me, but it's really, really interesting. And I'm actually put the URL. I think it's blackwallstreetcourse.com. And what he does in this course is a 6-week course that starts on the 24th. And it's for children. It's for children up to the age of about 15 to 18. And basically what he's going to do is he's basically using the board game. Everybody gets a free copy of the board game. And then he spends 6 weeks not just teaching about Black Wall Street, but teaching principles of Black Wall Street that allow people to build. One thing about Black Wall Street and about your story on reparations and all that is I want you to acknowledge the story, but I don't want you to get into a pity party. I don't want you to get into one of those woe is me, we can never do this again type of things. They tried, in some areas they tried and did not succeed. But, remember that in order, the first slave to try to get off the plantation probably didn't succeed either. In fact, there were hundreds of slave revolts, and almost all those slave revolts failed. Why did they all fail? Because it was typically because a Black person snitched. It was typically because the Negro naysayer in the group, look it up, Dr. Claude Anderson has talked about this. Most slave revolts failed, if not all of them actually, in the United States. They failed because there was a Negro naysayer. Negro naysayers are the people that have a problem for every solution, who think every Black business is garbage, who give you more heat and more static for your business than they would ever give white people, who will attack you at every turn, right? And basically, that's why the slave revolts didn't succeed. But they were not a waste of time. Nat Turner died probably thinking that the world would forget about him, that what he did wasn't a good decision, that he failed, that he shouldn't have done what he did. But actually, Nat Turner is one of the greatest inspirations in all of Black history. Nat Turner he lived forever from that moment, right? So what you got to do is see the bigger picture. And so what I want you to do is when you think about Black Wall Street, or you think about even when I talk about my grandfather's lynching, Albert Sanders, I tell you that story not because I want to sit back and say, dang, see, this is what they do to us. They always hurting us. They always attacking us. Hands up, don't shoot. Black Lives Matter, y'all. Black Lives Matter. I'm not doing that. No, I'm saying that I'm here to avenge his motherfucking death. What I'm saying is I'm here for payback, and payback will be a motherfucker for you. Like that's why I'm here. I'm here to say, like the bill collector says on the phone, when can we expect payment? Right? So I'm here representing, I'm bringing his DNA to the table and saying that, oh, he didn't die for nothing, y'all. He didn't die for nothing. No. We're going to make 100% sure that you pay the entire tax for what you did. We're doing some mafia, La Cosa Nostra type of shit where we're like, no, we're here to avenge his death. We're not here to feel bad about it. I don't want you to acknowledge it. I don't want you to name a street after my great grandfather. I don't want you doing none of that. I need you to cut the damn check, because this is one of thousands of examples of things that you did to us in addition to stealing our wealth that we are not going to accept. So don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me for no votes. I told you, I'm not voting for no Democrats. I'm not voting for no Republicans if they're not cutting checks. If you cut a check, you might get my vote. My vote is right here. It's available to you, but I'm not supporting any of these political parties until you do right by Black people. If you have not done right by Black people and I give you my vote, then in my view, you don't have to have the same view, but in my view, if you don't do right by us, and I still vote for you, that means that I have failed my great-grandfather, Albert. And he's speaking to me in my spirit and in my DNA and saying, don't you do it. You give them hell, Boyce. You give them hell. So that's what this is about. That's why I'm telling you this story. This is not a sob story. This is not a sad story. This is a wonderful story. This is a story about a Black man who did something a lot of these little bitchy boys can't do. He stood up for a Black woman in the face of oppression. Right? He didn't say, well, let me just take a picture of somebody kicking my wife's ass. Because, you got those guys that'll sit and film a Black woman getting beat up on the street, but won't do nothing about it. Right? Won't even call the police. Won't even call the cops. Right? But will literally film it and be screaming, world star. Right? No. My great-grandfather, Albert, said, oh, you disrespect my wife. Well, this brick will be upside your head, and I don't care how white you are. Your whiteness will not protect you from the wrath of a Black man who loves a Black woman, period. So I am so proud of him. I am proud to know. I'm like, man, this is my stock. This is what I come from. Well, Boyce, you came back down from nothing. If he could stand up to something that would get him lynched, then you can certainly stand up to a bunch of backward thinking Negroes on the internet. You can certainly stand up to a bunch of white folks who want to get you by with the okie doke. There's nothing in this life that we are facing right now at any point that even comes close to matching what our ancestors faced and what they stood up against. And back then, the very best of us represented something that I encourage you to understand and to connect with so that you can understand how to dig yourself out of whatever pity party somebody's trying to sell you on TV. When I go to the Muhammad Ali Center, let me just tell you how special it is that I'm going to the Muhammad Ali Center tomorrow. Muhammad Ali was a guy that I grew up learning about because he walked the same streets of Louisville that I walked as a kid. My grandmother used to tell me stories. My grandmother went to high school with Muhammad Ali. I used to read books, and he would say, that song, the greatest, I believe the children are our future, right? And I was like, I'm the children. I must be the future. I saw this man lose the best years of his career. He lost the best years of his career standing up to a system that wanted to see him dead. So every time I would go through some tough situations, right? Maybe I was on the job where I wasn't getting treated right, or back when I was at Syracuse University and they were giving me a bunch of nonsense over my tenure situation. I remember thinking to myself, man, if Muhammad Ali can go through what he went through, I can definitely overcome this. It is all about perspective. And what I'm telling you is that sometimes to move forward in the future, you got to go back to the past. You see, the value in your life, the treasure in your life, it's not gold, it's not silver, it's not platinum, it's not Gucci. The gold in your life, the treasure in your life is in your ancestors. The ancestors have all the answers. They have the gold and the silver in your DNA. They gave you something that you can tap into that will help you overcome anything that you're faced with in your life. Any type of setback, any type of oppression, any type of mistreatment, any type of anything. They gave you everything you need in order for you to be successful. You just got to open your eyes and look for the lesson, because somebody only taught you how to be white. And you're not going to be very good at being white. But you can be extraordinarily good at being black. So go back to the past to learn how to operate in the future. Because believe me, I believe that if great-grandpa Albert was in 2021 and dealing with what I deal with, he would overcome all those obstacles like it ain't nothing. He'd be like, boy, I put a brick upside a white man's head knowing that would probably get me killed. So you need to tap into that type of strength and know how to deal with the Negro naysayers in your life, to deal with the racists in your life, and to deal with the obstacles and the biggest hater in your life, which is probably you. You're probably the number one factor that is stopping you from being your best self and going hard at everything you want. Just go hard, because even if you don't succeed, if you give it your best, you always win. You always win. So that's all I want to say to you guys today. I'm going to get out of here. My Instagram's The Real Boyce Watkins. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. If you want to follow me right there. Please hit that thumbs up button before you go. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And thank you for hearing this message. And ashe to Albert Sanders, my great-grandfather. I am extremely proud of him, and I know he's listening right now. And I want you to know, I want to say thank you for what you sacrificed so that I could be a better man, so I could exist. So take care, everybody. Have a good day. Please hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And one more time, the event tomorrow is going to be at the Muhammad Ali Center. So if you want to pop in, feel free to come through. I'll give you a hug. I don't care if the pandemic just ended. I'll hug you anyway. All right, guys. I'll take it easy. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.